Every doctor and health guru out there is telling you that their way is the only true way to get relief from your autoimmune disease and chronic illness symptoms. I've done most of their diets, and here's my experience. I was hungry. I felt deprived. I was stressed out trying to follow the rules. I wasn't actually sure what I was doing or if I was doing it right. Sometimes I would feel better. Sometimes I would feel worse. I knew that food mattered, so I didn't give up. But man, was it miserable for a time. Each diet I would do for 6 months to a year, and I tried diet after diet after diet for years on my quest to put my symptoms in remission and feel good permanently. Can you relate? I've discovered the secret to breaking up with chronically dieting for my diagnosis, and I learned how to eat for lifelong health in a way that is flexible, realistic, and most importantly, easy. I want you to know that following strict therapeutic diets long term isn't going to help you achieve the vibrant health you've been seeking. They're a tool in the toolbox and an important one for sure, but they're a short term one. If you are someone who knows that food matters but hasn't been able to figure out the way of eating that is going to work for you for life, then this is the webinar for you. I'm going to challenge your thoughts around diagnosis specific diets, and I'm asking you to hang in there with me. I'm so glad you're here because you're searching for support and guidance on a way of eating that is actually doable and realistic. We all know how impossible it can seem to follow all of the rules that each expert has out there. And typically, there's a few that conflict with each other. This isn't for you if you're looking for a quick fix, a super restrictive diet where everything is done for you. My name is Marian Mitchell. I'm an integrative nutrition health coach, and I've been practicing since 2012. My practice is Road to Living Whole. I'm the host of the Therapeutic Food Solutions podcast, and I am the creator of the Therapeutic Food Framework. I'm also a chronic illness warrior, mom of two, and a former chronic dieter. I've been in your shoes. I was suffering from chronic migraines that took me out of commission 3 to 5 days a week, itchy and sometimes painful psoriasis, a seriously weak immune system, chronic severe asthma, chronic fatigue, systemic pain, cystic hormonal acne, ovarian cysts that would burst, brain fog, irregular menstrual cycle, digestive issues, and I even had gray tinged hair. I was desperate to feel better. All of these symptoms interfered with the life I wanted to live, and I couldn't keep on living this way. I wouldn't accept that this is how my life would be. I knew that food was the foundation, and nailing that would allow all the other things I was doing, like herbs and supplements and acupuncture, massage, all of these things to work better. But I fell into that diet for diagnosis mentality. I had multiple things going on, and I just jumped from one diet to the next that promised to help with one of these symptoms, hoping it would help with everything. 7 years on that journey, I figured out the secret. Through all of these trying of different diets, reading 8 to 12 hours a week of nutrition science, attending school to become a health coach, reading books by different experts, attending summits, listening to webinars, I realized that all of these diets, all of them, have the same foundation. I was able to escape the diet for diagnosis mentality and find the real foundation for a healthy diet I could actually do and it support my health. I'm so grateful I didn't give up. I didn't accept what felt like my fate. I kept going. I kept searching. And now I am healthy and live a very full life with minimal symptoms. And if I do have symptoms that start to flare up, I know what to do to get back to balance again. This was a game changer for me, and I know it will be for you too. When this foundation is incorporated into your life, it makes the healing process a million times easier. And this is what I am shouting from the rooftops. It's not as hard as it seems. It's just different. It requires a complete mindset shift away from a pill for every ill or diet for every diagnosis and onto something much better, tangible, realistic, healthy living that can be done for life. And really, that's the goal, right? No more trying every new diet out there. No more spending all of your mental energy searching for answers. You're able to enjoy food again Hallelujah. Symptoms improving, less medication, supplements, and herbs needed, and finally feeling better, not being held back by debilitating symptoms, and enjoying the amazing life you have. Typically, seeing a health coach is the absolute last resort. Everybody wants to try to figure it out on their own. They've spent, hundreds, if not thousands of dollars going to different doctors and having different tests done, taking different supplements and medications. I totally get it. I've been there. Having gone through this myself and coaching hundreds of people over the last 10 years, there are three big things that I see people do that set them up for frustration, overwhelm, and feeling like failures. Mistake number one that I see is jumping from what you're currently eating straight into a therapeutic diet. You want to feel better. You've been feeling awful for a very long time, and you just want to feel good so you can live your life. So you hear about this new diet that's supposed to help. Maybe your doctor even prescribed it for you, and you just do a complete 180 and jump into it. But then you find that it takes so much mental effort and time. It's only sustainable for a few days to a few weeks. Then you feel like a complete failure and like you're doomed to suffer forever because you quote unquote or you quote unquote lack the willpower to stick with it. The reason this doesn't work is directly linked to the fact that jumping into a new diet, doing a complete 180 from what you're currently doing, requires much more mental effort than we expect. It requires us to change our lifestyle. It requires us to change the way we meal plan, the way we grocery shop, the way we prep, and the way we cook our meals. It's basically a brand new lifestyle, and doing it all at once is impossible. You haven't failed anything. It's just too much to take on at once. A much more realistic and sustainable approach is to make over what I call your food baseline first. Make that second nature. So it requires very little thought and mental effort. And once you've done this, over the course of a couple of weeks, strategically make changes to transition onto that therapeutic diet. The second mistake I see people see is staying on that restrictive diet or therapeutic diet for way too long. Therapeutic diets are restrictive for a reason. They are removing the foods that inhibit the body from healing itself for a short time, usually between anywhere from 30 days to 6 months. It just kind of depends on what you have going on. They are not designed to be a dietary lifestyle. The reason they can't is because of how restrictive they are. For a short time, they're extremely beneficial. For the long haul, they include too few of nutrients and you will likely become nutrient depleted. If you stay nutrient depleted for too long, you can have permanent damage from these deficiencies. I've seen people stay on the ketogenic diet for too long and have their thyroids completely crash, and then they're on thyroid medication for life. I've seen people stay on a low FODMAP diet for too long and have permanent neuropathy from nutritional deficiencies. They also develop disordered eating and require much more intervention than they would have if they'd followed it properly and gotten off of it when they were supposed to. Staying on these therapeutic diets for too long can cause you to be afraid of food. Please eat. Please. You need to eat. Not only do you need nutrients and calories, but food brings us closer to the people that we love. It builds community and connection. It's just plain an important part of being a human. Therapeutic diets absolutely have their place, but very few of them are designed to be long-term dietary lifestyles. Mistake number 3, going right back to your old way of eating after the time on your therapeutic diet ends. I see this a lot, especially the people who are rule followers. Like they know what the rules are, they stick to them 100% no matter how hard it is. But once they're told, hey, you don't need to be on that diet anymore, they go off the deep end and they go absolutely crazy eating all of the foods that they've been missing, right? And it's usually very highly processed foods, sugar-filled foods, and then they go right back to their old way of eating, sometimes worse because they felt so deprived and hungry the entire time. All of that hard work just got flushed down the toilet. It isn't healthy either. If the goal is lifetime health and management of symptoms, then you need to eat in a way that supports that for life. The therapeutic diet is there when you have a flare-up of your symptoms, but like I've been saying, it's a short-term tool, not your regular diet. Your food baseline is what will keep you healthy and with minimal symptoms for life. And or depending on what your food baseline is, you can be symptomatic for life. So this is where many of you watching are at. You've made these classic mistakes. I know I did. But you know that the food you eat matters, and you're ready to learn exactly what you need to do to not only feel better, but to stay feeling better for life. You have two choices. You can keep throwing spaghetti at the wall, trying every new diet that comes up and trying to figure it out all on your own. Or you can get out of the diet for diagnosis cycle, make over your normal way of eating to support your health, the healthy life you desire, right? Learn how to use a therapeutic diet properly so that all your other therapies work more effectively, and then go right back to your food baseline easily, enjoying food again and experiencing vibrant health. The choice is yours. Before I share with you the therapeutic food framework, I know that we've covered a lot, and I hope you've gotten a lot of value out of this so far. Before we move on to the big reveal, I want to ask you something. Do you believe that your body is designed to feel good? That it can heal when given the proper tools to do its job well? Are you willing to make changes strategically and in a sustainable way instead of trying to completely overhaul your life all at once? If you said yes, then I'm thrilled because that's amazing and I'm so excited for you. Okay, here it is. Here is the therapeutic food framework. The framework is what is going to get you off of the diet for diagnosis cycle and onto lasting and vibrant health. Here's how you do it. First, you have to learn what healthy eating actually looks like. We think we know, but you'll be surprised at how different it is from what you've been taught all of these years. Every single therapeutic diet starts with the same foundation. I teach you what that is and how to start incorporating these foundational principles into your life strategically. Once it becomes your norm that requires very little thought or mental effort, you'll then transition onto that therapeutic diet that you need to be on. This is eating for your diagnosis, right? You'll learn how to follow the diet properly. Typically, your doctor will tell you what diet you need, right? And then I ensure that you find it easy to follow with meal plans and step-by-step guides. And once you've followed the diet for the set amount of time, sometimes that's 3 weeks, sometimes it's 3 months, sometimes it's 6 months. Usually it's not more than that. I teach you how to transition off of the therapeutic diet and onto a way of eating that supports your health and helps you experience minimal to no symptoms of your autoimmune disease or chronic illness. You deserve to feel amazing and deserve to live the life you want to live. Now, I know this feels easier said than done. You have very real, probably very complicated stuff going on. Your doctor might be telling you that a special diet is required. We call those therapeutic diets. They are absolutely beneficial. They play a very important role in the healing process. They also need to be done correctly to get the benefits that they have to offer. That can feel overwhelming, and it's not always easy to stick to. I've helped people navigate therapeutic diets from very early on in my practice. Over the years, I've created many meal plan programs for them, including autoimmune support. It's similar to the autoimmune protocol, but there's more calories and it's more nutrient dense. Hormone balancing, a healthy, true ketogenic diet, low mold for mold illness, low histamine for people with histamine intolerance, mast cell activation syndrome, things like that. A low oxalate one for people who struggle with recurring kidney stones or maybe have digestive issues where they can't digest oxalates and there's complications from that. Low fructose and sucrose for those who have those enzyme deficiencies. Low fructose can also be a problem for people who are struggling with parasites or candida. I also have a post small intestine bacterial overgrowth recovery program. That's actually a whole separate program, but it is one of the ones that I've developed. They are extremely beneficial and helpful. By removing those inflammatory foods, the diets allow for other treatments to work more effectively, often at a lower dose, which means less risk of side effects, and it helps some symptoms transition to becoming asymptomatic to very mildly symptomatic. The hard part is knowing what rules are the right rules and how to follow them, especially maybe when you've never eaten a vegetable or cooked for yourself. And then, or maybe you have a life on the go. You need to figure out how to stick to this diet while traveling or while doing work dinners or the holidays or just living life outside of the home and in community. That's when things get difficult. And change is hard. Changing your diet takes a lot of work. You're completely changing your habits, the way you meal plan, shop, cook, where you eat. You might be cooking for the first time in your life. You might not know how to cook to save your life. Been there, done that, had to learn. You might also be feeling really crappy because your symptoms are interfering with your daily life. You're tired. You don't have the mental and physical capacity for changing things. These are all very normal, real challenges, and you're not doing anything wrong. You haven't failed in any way. You haven't ruined your chances at living a healthy life. What a game changer to have somebody walking alongside you who knows all of this and has solutions for every roadblock and can give you the emotional and very necessary support that you need when you're feeling frustrated and overwhelmed, to have tools to be able to help you get through them and do the hard lifting for you. How much faster would your progress be if you had strategic and easy to incorporate steps to slowly make changes over time that are actually effective? How much less stressful would the process be if you had a coach you could ask questions every week, plus a community of others in the same boat to lean on? Imagine feeling better quickly. Then you have the ability to tackle a therapeutic diet because you have the emotional, mental, and physical capacity for it. And then realize that that transition was really only a few tweaks from what you were taught in step one. And it's easier to stick to than it ever has been. Then boom, those few weeks, couple of months are up, and you don't have to guess what to do after the therapeutic diet is over. You have the steps laid out right for you. Plus, you have a coach you can ask questions so you feel confident moving forward and making sure you're doing things the right way. Then you keep nourishing and supporting your body because it's your new normal. Your blood work keeps improving, you're feeling better. It might take a few months, like Cheryl, who resolved her IBS and got off all 9 medications in 9 months. Or it might take 5 years, like it took Sarah, who started out with an A1C of 11 and thyroid antibodies through the roof, who was able to reverse her type 2 diabetes and lower her thyroid antibody levels to a normal level. Either way, your health improves and you're able to live the life you've been dreaming of finally while eating well, because that's just how you eat. If you take one thing away, I want you to know that food matters. Therapeutic diets have their place as a short-term tool, but what really matters is your food foundation, your food baseline. The big question is, are you ready to get off of the diet for diagnosis train and achieve lifelong health by incorporating this food baseline as your normal way of eating? You can choose to continue throwing spaghetti at the wall and hope that something sticks. You can keep being super restrictive and then binging when it comes time to travel or go on vacation or party with friends and then deal with the flare up and shame and blame. Or you can be like Cheryl and Sarah, who learned the food framework that helped resolve their symptoms, and you can get your life back and keep it. It's time for you to live the life you dream of. It's time to remove the guesswork, shame, and blame. And that's what the therapeutic food framework was built to do. And I'm excited to be able to share it with you. Remove the guesswork and give you your life back in a step-by-step method that is proven to work for hundreds of clients who used to suffer from debilitating symptoms of their autoimmune disease or chronic illness and no longer do. I want to give you a bird's eye view of what's included in the therapeutic food framework. So step one is we establish that food baseline. This is where you learn what all these therapeutic diets have in common and what eating for your health looks like. But you don't just learn what they look like. I teach you strategically how to incorporate them into your life in a realistic way. It's so easy to jump onto the super strict diet bandwagon where you do a complete 180 from what you've been doing at first. But then typically what I see is 3 weeks in, you're completely worn out, burnt out, and you go right back to the way you were eating before you started. You're not doing that this time. The goal is to get healthy for life, so we're going to do things in a realistic and sustainable manner this time around. After that baseline is habit, typically about 4 weeks. So like it takes 21 days for something to become a habit, right? 90 days for it to become a lifestyle. Well, you're in a healing process. So the lifestyle will come, but right now we need it to be a habit because we need it to be easy and not require a lot of mental effort. So once we're there, the next step is your therapeutic diet. So the therapeutic diet is for when we are struggling with major symptoms and we know one of the root causes, hopefully the only one, but typically there's more, right? And this diet is to support the healing process for that problem. Typically, this is suggested or prescribed by your doctor. The goal is to remove the foods inhibiting the healing process and replace them with foods that support the healing process. This diet also allows for your other therapeutics, typically a blend of pharmaceutical, herbal supplements, sometimes complementary medicine, acupuncture, EMDR, things like that to work more effectively. And it's a short-term tool in the therapy toolbox for functional and naturopathic doctors, and they work. So we make a few tweaks. So we have the food baseline. We're going to make a few tweaks because we started where we needed to be. So we tweak it for the therapeutic diet and we follow that for the allotted time. Again, typically, 3 to 6 months. And then after that, you have to transition off of it. You cannot stay on it forever. So depending on what you have going on, you might be able to transition to what we call a normal healthy diet. Or if you have something like autoimmune disease or, a chronic condition, then we need to do a modified healthy diet where, you either have conditions that are short term or, something that needs to be managed for life, and I teach you which one is that for you. Either way, you have an easy game plan to follow. Not only do I give you the step-by-step learning, I also include 2 sets of meal plans, a meal plan in step 1 and a meal plan in step 2, to show you what these principles actually look like, give you a starting point, and ensure you're getting plenty of variety of flavors and nutrients, which is essential. So often people find 4 meals that they know that they like and fit the rules, and they eat nothing but those. And then after 3 weeks, you're so sick of them. And again, you go right back to that old way of eating, which required no thought and tasted good. So that's setting yourself up for failure. I want you set up for success. And then beyond the meal plans, I give you tried and true strategies for life outside of the home, how to dine out, how to save money on groceries, how to talk to your family and friends about what's going on, how to travel, and so much more. Every common roadblock that is addressed, and it gives you ways to work through them. Now let's talk about support. You do get one-on-one coaching session for 60 minutes and unlimited email support because you should never have to try to figure this out all on your own. Because autoimmune disease and chronic illness can be extremely isolating and lonely, I also have an amazing student community you can join as well. Inside this community, you will obviously be able to connect to others. You guys will be cheering each other on, speaking encouragement into each other, sharing your finds, answering questions, and I will be giving live Q&A sessions that you can ask your questions right there with me. So you have that ongoing support, not just from a coach, but from a community, which is so important. And you can have access to all of this, everything I just talked about right now. Once you join the course, you will have access to the framework, the meal plans, the coaching, the community, everything, plus all future materials that are bound to be added for life. That's right, lifetime access. You can finally nail the eating side of things so that you can focus on getting healthy and taking your life back. I'm so excited for you. If you've watched this webinar and still have questions, feel free to schedule a discovery call with me. You and I will talk for about 15 to 30 minutes on Zoom. We can talk about what you have going on. You can share with me your story, and I can share with you, how the framework would be able to help with that, and you can decide if it's a good fit for you. You can be like Cheryl, who got off all 9 medications she was on and completely resolved her IBS in 9 months. You can be like Sarah, who dropped her thyroid antibodies to a normal level and completely reversed her type 2 diabetes. You can be like me, who resolved my mold toxicity, got my asthma and psoriasis under control. They're basically asymptomatic now for the most part. Healed my gut, no longer suffer from hormonal acne. My menstrual cycle is regular. My gut is great. And I've been able to keep my symptoms at bay for over 10 years. You absolutely can. And it starts by joining the therapeutic food framework. I want that for you. You deserve to live symptom free and to live the life you dream of. Thank you for spending this time with me and learning about the therapeutic food framework. I cannot wait to meet you inside of the course and watch your health transform for the better and for good. Again, if you still have questions, go ahead and schedule that discovery call. And I look forward to meeting you and talking with you inside of the framework.